Hi, welcome to the Shelly Studio. Today I'm going to play with this really big jelly plate. If any of you saw people posting that Hobby Lobby had their, I don't even know, is it a 12 by 12? It's a big jelly plate on clearance for like 13 something. So I ran out and grabbed the last one at my Hobby Lobby and wanted to play with it. So I'm using my Hippie Crafter paints. They were given to me by Hippie Crafter to use and advertise, and there are links in the description box below to their products if you're interested. And I saw a couple of videos on how to do an accordion journal, and they used two-sided scrapbook paper, and I didn't want to buy anything. And I have this scrapbook paper that I've had. I looked at the date on the label, so I don't know that you can find it anymore. It's from 2010, and it's by DCWV, if you're familiar with that. I know that stands for something, but I can't remember. That's what they have on their logo. And the art is, it's called The Colorful Life Stack, and these were probably 8x8s, and it's art by Donna Easterbrooks, and I really love her pages. I just think they're so cute, but I wanted to cover the back side so I could turn this into a book. I didn't want to glue them together because they're already super thick. I wonder if it says how many pounds the paper is. It doesn't, but it's like even heavy for cardstock. Like, it's heavy. Anyway, you can probably hear me fiddling through it. It's pretty heavy. Anyways, I love her artwork, and I've had this sitting here obviously for over 10 years and never used it. Bought it because it was pretty. And I saw this accordion journal idea and wanted to give it a try. So I am just jelly printing randomly, just getting some shapes and color just to make the back sides a little bit more interesting. And I'm just picking, just doing layers of colors, and hopefully in the end, of course they're no competition to her art, but hopefully it'll make it a little bit more cohesive and cover up all those white pages. And this is really transparent, and I put it on there and it was like a glaze. I kind of liked that. So, and that's the Rose by Hippie Crafter. And you can see all the color underneath, which I like. And I'm going through this really fast. I believe there's a flip through before I start making the journal out of these pages, so you can see how they all end up in the end. And now I'm just gonna put some marks on my pages. Make them more interesting. Try to pick up whatever's left there. So then I use the wax, the deli paper, to pick up any residue. And we'll go for some green circles. I'm sorry, the bottom of this is cut off. My camera doesn't go any higher. I need to figure out how to mount it to the ceiling or something. And I just have them laying to the side of me and just grabbing them at random. Whichever one I think needs that color, I'm just grabbing them and bringing them over and printing. So there's a couple of them. I decide I want to try doing a glaze. So this is High Flow, which probably wasn't the best choice, of quinacridone Nico Azo Gold, and it really didn't show up. So then I decided maybe yellow, if I do it really thin, would work better, and it does. It was still transparent, so you could see the other marks in between. And I'm so not used to using such a big gel plate. It's really big. I make one more attempt with the Nickel Azo Gold, and I still don't think it does anything. Yeah, it really doesn't. Then I try it in red, and yeah, that didn't do much. Though I kept trying. And here I thought I would just try and pull up a section off of my gel plate, but that didn't pull up very well either. So once I got them done that far, I decided I wanted to give them some sort of focal type image, kind of relate to what's on the opposite side. Like one of them has hearts, so I'm painting hearts with my fingers. A lot of them had flowers and just really abstract flowers, so I figured I would paint them with my fingers. Why not? And I just go through one color at a time, adding things. And I know I'm speeding through this really fast, but if I didn't, this would be like a couple hours long. But I really kind of like how these turned out, and I love how bright the Hippie Crafter paints are. They are a glossier paint, so doing them in a journal, I'm gonna have to be careful. If they fold against themselves, they'll stick. So when I make it, I'll be careful so that they're not folded in on themselves or have something in between them so they don't stick together, glue themselves together. You can also go over them with matte medium, that or Daddy Van's wax, because matte medium gives it kind of a rough sort of texture. I'm not sure what it is, but it will keep them from sticking together once it's completely dry. Or you can do like Daddy Van's wax and wax them, but I don't consider it done once I've made the journal. I mean, I want to do something with it. I don't know if I'm going to write in it or just add some words. I don't know. Just enjoy it for a little while. Looking for places to add orange. Making some marks. There's birds on the opposite side. I was using those to try and get my bird right. Alright, so now I've pulled out my Posca. I'm checking them for dryness before I start drawing over them. Just making some interesting flower patterns. Or just patterns. A lot of these kind of end up to be flowery. As you can see. White doesn't like me. Even Posca White does not like me. Here I'm using a thinner black Posca. Oh, these are some sort of interesting berries, I guess. And I'm sorry I'm down there at the bottom. I'm so bad at that. I need to have a monitor so I can see what the camera is aiming at while I'm working. So if I look up and see my hands are off the screen, I can shift. But I'm encroaching in on myself and don't have a lot of space to work there. As you can see, I end up with all that stuff and it just kind of pushes you in a corner. Okay, so here they all are. You can see my version and then the original art on the other side. Hopefully that wasn't too fast. It was kind of quick. Okay, so now I did cut them down so they would be a normal sized book. So I did trim one edge off. And I'm taking all of them and folding them in half. Some with my design on the inside of the fold and some with the scrapbook pattern on the inside. Just kind of going every other one, or the ones that are my favorite that I want to have all in one spot, like centerfold or whatever. I don't know how to explain that. So now I've got them all folded. Now the next step is to make the accordion. I think that's what I do next. I'm just going to set those aside, and I'm taking strips that were left over, so they're I don't know, about 2 by 8, and I'm folding them. So I want to have enough mountain folds for each of my folded signature pages. Hopefully that makes sense. So I've created 10 of the single page signatures, and so I want 10 mountain folds, and then it needs a single like flap on either side to kind of secure it. At least that's how the video I watched that showed me how to do it did it. So that's how I'm doing it. So this is my first attempt, and it was actually kind of hard to maintain keeping it straight and from wobbling. So I do 3 strips here and then glue them together to get enough of the mountain folds. So there, I just glue the 3 strips together and then set that aside. Now I did go double check my measurements. You can do them as wide as you want. I just used the strips I had, and they ended up being 1 3/4 inches long. So the idea, and what I'm doing now, is I'm making an opening in each of my signatures that's just slightly larger. So I think I do it at 2 inches. Let's see. Yeah, I'm measuring. So I made a template so that I can have 2 inches right in the center, poked holes at the top and bottom of those 2 inches, and then I am using a really dull, better to use a sharp X-Acto knife. Get a new blade. I need to buy me some blades. And you go from one hole to the other, so then you have your slit so that those mountain folds can go in. So that's the next step. So I'm just taking the fold and sliding it in and just kind of holding it in place as I stick each of these in. So I want them all in, and I want to make sure everything is straight before I make it permanent. Now there is 2 ways of doing this. Once you get your mountain fold in there, you can actually take a longer strip of cardstock or whatever and slide it through the mountain fold, and that will hold your page on. But I'm actually going to do a different method where you glue it over the top of it. So inside each of those signatures is either going to be a page or a small element that will hold the accordion piece in. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so got them all in there. I'm making sure my book is straight, and I'm just going to glue that flap down. I don't make you watch the whole thing, and in fact, halfway through I glue the back flap down. But what they did is, so this is just a strip that's slightly larger than my hole, and I'm going to put that inside the first signature right here, and that'll secure it so it doesn't slide back out. So then it's permanently adhered, and I'm going to do that to every signature. And I just took leftover strips and folded them in half, added glue, and there I'm just going over and catching that. And some of them I do full-size pages, and I glue them on both sides. So I do have a few thick ones, and you'll see when I do the flip through at the end that you won't see the smaller squares in every page. That's because I've added full-size sheets of paper. And maybe if I can find it, because it's been a while, I will link the video that I learned from so you can watch the professional do it. So now I'm making covers. So I just have this brochure. It's kind of thick. It's about the same thickness as my cardstock, and I'm hopefully going to be able to fold this over without it cracking if I score it well enough. And gonna cover up the brochure, and that'll make my cover of my notebook or art journal or whatever it is. cutting the ends because there's no way those are gonna fold up and look nice. Pre-creasing all of the pages, all the edges. So then we're gonna glue that in there and then cover it up. And I struggle with my glue. It's almost gone. I love my glitter glue, but it got really thick in the bottom, but it is almost empty. Okay, so there, I'm going to glue that on. Now we'll glue all those flaps down. And I'm going to make one of these for the front. This is the front, and then another one for the back. But I won't make you watch that part. Sorry about the background noise. Alright, so we turn it over and there's our cover. And now we have our back and our front cover. And I decided I'm just going to go ahead and glue them straight on to the front and back page that I had already created. And yeah, that'll be the easiest way to go. You could use the flap that I had already secured down and glue that onto your cover and then create another page. Cover up whatever you wrapped, you know, your chipboard or fake chipboard is what I have. But I just decided I didn't need to see my homemade paint job on the front anyway. So we'll just cover that up. I am covering up the bee, but I have another page of that. In my scrapbook stash, scrapbook paper stash. So, and I am lining that up with the back spine. I'm not leaving an edge, so it'll open nicely. It's not 100% perfect, but it was my first attempt, and I thought it was a lot of fun to make. Alright, so here we'll flip through it so you can see the little flaps. There's another little flap. And then another little flap. Soon here there'll be a full-size one. There's a full-size page I stuck in between. But it makes for a fun little journal. I hope you like that. I hope it inspires you to give something new a try. Try making a little book. It's so much fun to make these little books. I just keep wanting to make more. If you did like this, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and thank you all for watching.